Hello, this is Joanne Hewins from LoveToCreate.typepad.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and today I want to show you how to make this card. It is using the stamp set Darling Details. This is in the annual catalog, and when you open it up, it becomes a vase. It's a 3D vase. So I'm part of a blog hop today, and we are doing fun folds. And I thought this one was one I've never made before, and I was excited to share it with you. But when I got ready to write down how to make this on my blog post, I can't do it in words. I really can't. I want to do it this way so you can kind of see how that opens up. There's a little mechanism in there, and it's really, really pretty neat. I hope that I can do it again. We'll try it and see. Well, it's a suspenseful email, or not email, it's a suspenseful video because I might not be able to do it. So I'm going to put that aside, and we'll get ready to start. So I'm beginning with a piece of Lost Lagoon cardstock. This is 5.5 by 8.5. I've got it scored at 4 1/4, and I'm going to fold that, and I'm going to try to match my corners because you know what? Sometimes things aren't cut exact. And so I'm going to try to match that as best I can, and then I'm going to use my bone folder to burnish that fold. Now I also have two pieces of Lost Lagoon. These are let me see, I think I did that actually 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I have two of them that are just the same, and they're going to go on the inside of the card. Now this card, I did not have the new embossing folder, which is the distressed tile, so I used the quatrefoil embossing folder with it. But I got this one in the mail yesterday, and I just wanted to try it. It looks so pretty on samples I've seen people use. So the first thing I'm going to do is just glue these to the inside. So let me put a little bit of glue on there. And we want to do our best to not let that seep out of the edges. So one will go here. And then the other one will go beside it. And you really would not have to do this, but I just thought it would add so much to the card. So we'll do the other one over here. And for this card, I've already done some of the work because it's a little involved. So that part is done. And we're just going to go ahead and work on the front. And for the front, I have a piece of basic white. I cut that out already, and I'm using that from the scalloped contours. Also in the annual catalog, I used the third one in to cut out my shape. And I actually have two of those because one goes out here and one goes in here. So I just went ahead and cut them both out at the same time. So let me get that out of our way. Okay. And I am going to pull in something and do it real quick. For the embellishments on the front of this card, let me pull this one in. I used the basic pearls for this, and I'd already taken all of my pictures and edited all of my pictures, and I realized that they retired. So I could have colored those pearls. Well, they would still be retired, wouldn't they? So I'm going to color some of the classic matte dots with my dark Pretty Peacock blend. So I'm going to go ahead and do those and let it be drying. Okay, and probably I would want to use the small ones as much as I can. I'm just going to do a couple. And I'm going to let that dry a minute, and then I'm going to come back and add another label to that. Okay, I'm looking. Yes, I've got one. I've got a little spot right there on that one. So for this one on the inside, I am going to use a brand new stamp set called So Sincere. And it is one of the $1 million earners. I think it's Sandy Hancock that did these sentiments. And these are wonderful. The one that I'm going to use on the inside says, "Hope you're feeling better soon." And I'm going to do that in Pretty Peacock ink. So I'm just going to tap, 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 tap. Check it for ink on the sides. And there we have that. And then I'll glue that in the inside in just a minute. The other one that I'm going to use for the outside is also from this stamp set, and it is called It Is Just For You. So I'm going to stamp on that. Okay, got a little bit down here, and I'm going to put that down here in the corner. So there we have those. Whew, glad I got through the stamping part. So I'll move that out of the way. And I'm going to show you that I have already stamped and cut out all of the things that we're going to need, just in the interest of time. But I wanted to show you for the flower. This is the large flower, this one and this one. I stamped the outside full force. And then for this inside part, I stamped the same color, but I stamped it off on my paper and then did this. And it's pretty easy to match those up because it's clear. It's the clear blocks. So I did that with the cherry cobbler, and this is crushed curry. And then for the smaller one, I did the outside in Pretty Peacock. And the inside is just stamped off Pretty Peacock. For the leaves, on the ones on the sample that I have here, what I did was I stamped first in Lost Lagoon with this, and then I brought in this one and stamped it on Lost Lagoon and stamped it off, and then stamped it on top of that. For the one I'm doing with you now, I actually did the leaves with a 3 stamp instead of a 2 stamp. I stamped first the outline in Lost Lagoon, and then I went back and did the solid stamp off and added in the solid, and then I stamped and full force did the leaves. So that was actually stamping it 3 times, and I think I got it to where it actually worked really well because they're photopolymer and you can see through them. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and add this to the front of the card. Just going to try to center it. And then I'm going to add in the other pieces. So I'm going to add one of the crushed curry, one of the cobbler, one of these, and I'm going to cut these in half and use them that way. So I'm going to add I think I'm going to do first the crushed curry. And I'm looking for my dimensionals. Here they are. Okay, so we'll add a couple dimensionals. And just put that like that. We'll add a few more to the crushed curry. And I'm just going to, have that go over that one just a little bit. And then I think I'm just going to glue this one. I'll put a little bit of glue there. And I'm going to push this one up so that it looks like a whole flower coming from under there. And then we'll add some leaves. And for the leaves, hold on just a second. For the leaves, I'm going to put a small dimensional out here at the tips. And I'm about out of those. Okay, and then I'm going to put a glue dot down at the bottom. Now I have moved where I usually do my taping into a different room. It's actually the place where I do my crafting. And I'm seeing it works a lot better because, it works a lot better because when I've forgotten something, it's closer. Maybe you won't even notice. Okay, so I did glue dots down here and just a dimensional down further. So I'm going to put one of those leaves coming out there. And actually, I guess I used, let me just get this way. That one's up here. And then I guess I actually used another 2-1 right there. Let me get another glue dot. And this one, get rid of those and maybe I can get them better. Oh, I did get them. Okay, and we'll put this right in there. So there's the front, and I'm going to have to add those colored things a little bit later. I'm using the dark. It doesn't look very dark, does it? I'm going to give another coat on that, and hopefully I won't forget to come back and get those on there at the end. All right, for this one, I'm just going to glue this inside as it is, and that's going to be that part, because the other part's going to have so much prettiness on it, it won't need any more. Let me move that one out of the way there. So there's what we have so far. So let's start talking about the mechanism, because that's the part that I can't explain in words. Trying to type them, it helps so much if you have something to show with it. So I've got 2 pieces of mechanism, and these measurements I think I'll try to add to the video, and I will add to my blog post that goes with this. So one of them is 5/8 of an inch by 3 7/8, and I have scored this at 3/8. And I'm going to take my tear and tape, and that is going to go right there. I don't like to tear, I like to cut. So that's going to go right there. And then on this little piece, this is 1/2 inch by 2 inches. And I'm going to put the tear and tape right here at the very top of that. And right here on the other end, like that. It took me a while to understand what to do with this. I think I have it. We're getting ready to see. So this is the part that's kind of the hardest. I have 2 of them because I might mess one up. And I wanted to have another one close by. So this is actually from the Earthen Elegance paper that's in the annual catalog. And I wanted a color that I thought would blend nicely with the rest of my stuff, and I thought that was just perfect to go with it. So this is 2 1/4 by 5. Okay, I'm going to bring in my trimmer now because we have to do some scoring and some cutting with this. Okay, so I'm going to put this over here where the 1 inch mark is, and we are going to score at 1 inch, and then we're going to turn this around and score again at 1 inch. Okay, now this next part's a little bit tricky. I'm going to put it over here on 3/4, and I'm going to bring my score thing in. I want this line right here on the score thing to end up at that line. So I'm going to bring it in. And I can't look straight down on this, so I don't know. Yep, I got it. And then I'm going to bring it down and do, oops, it came out. People have been telling me theirs were coming out and I hadn't had any trouble. Okay, so I'm going to bring it down here and I'm going to go up, and I want that line again to hit this. So I'm going to go up, and that's as far as I need to go. Now I'm going to turn the whole thing around and repeat that again. So I'll just start down here at the bottom. And I'm going to go from here to that line. Well, it came out again. I guess once it starts, it's just going to keep going. I'm glad I ordered some of those extra, some of those extra ones. I guess you couldn't see that off camera, but it came out. Okay, and then again, I'm going up to that line and down. Okay, so that's what we need to do. And I did go over just a little bit here and here. I'm going to get my bone folder and just kind of see if I can just work on that a little bit. I don't know if it helped or not, but we'll try it. Okay, and so now I'm going to go in to the fold, right on that line, and into the fold, right on that line. And I'll just fold those. And on this one, I'm going to cut off this middle part. So I'm just going to cut across on that line. So we have 2 there. And on the other side, I'm going to cut in on the score line. And this time, just fold them all. This time I'm going to cut up. I'm going to cut the end pieces off. Okay. So I'm going to have the 2 pieces here and the 1 piece here. And now I'm going to need my tear-in tape on that. So I'm going to put some here. You don't want it to go past your tabs. Some there. Okay, and then for this one all by itself, I'm going to turn it over and put those pieces of tape on this side, on the back of what we're using. So far, I think I'm doing a good job. We'll hope that it turns out that way. All right, so I'm going to I'm going to push those flowers out of the way. I don't need them yet. I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to just take that tape off. Now I didn't fold it, I didn't anything. That tape is just right there on the top beside of that score line. Okay, and I'm going to take off the tape on the back here, and I'm going to put that right there, and I still have that tape sticking up there. All right, so now I'm going to bring in my card. This looks kind of weird, and I want to kind of line my vase up where I want it to be, and I kind of want it just to be kind of close to where this paper goes. And you're going to lay this close to the score line, so that you can bend that back, line that up where you want it. That's the score line. I'm going to pull mine back just a little bit, and I'm going to fold this onto that tape. And so it just kind of flops now. Now you've got a score line there, so just bend that back. And so that's the way that's going to look. Now we want to use this piece next. And we're going to take the end off of both of those. This is that 1/2 by 2. And you're going to place that next to your vase with the sticky on each side of this. So I'm going to just put it kind of like that, and the sticky is there. So the vase is going to end up being like this. And we're ready to take off these pieces. And I actually think I'm going to make it work. Okay, so I'm going to bend this back, and this is the tricky part. You would think you would just bend it down there, but you're not going to do that. You've got this mechanism, and you're going to have these pieces folded back, and your job is to close this mechanism without adhering those pieces until the card would be completely closed. And that isn't that easy to do. So let's see. And there we go. There's our vase. Yay! All right. So if you didn't get it, my advice to you is rewind and look at it again until you can do it. Okay? So the next thing we want to do, and the last thing we want to do really, is add all of our flowers and our leaves. So I started up here and did the background because I thought that would just be the easiest. And I'm going to go ahead and put some dimensionals on here. This is one of the red ones, and then I'm going to put another dimensional on a yellow. Okay, and we'll just put one of the reds up here, and then we'll add the yellow. Okay, I'm going to put it down a little bit further, and then we will do a double leaf. I might have used more leaves than what I fixed. Okay, then we'll do one of these. You can see I used the paper behind there. It was a mess up, and I used it again. So we'll put that. I just like to have those look like whole flowers. So I'm going to put that there. And I think I'm going to use just this one leaf since I don't have a lot of space there. That will be fine. So my flowers are Pretty Peacock, and the leaves are Lost Lagoon. Okay, and then we'll put a leaf and a glue dot up in there. Okay, and then I kind of put, let's see, a flower right in there. You know, you can never get things to look exactly the way you did it before. You just play with it and do the best you can. So we'll take that off. And I'm just going to put that up over in there a little bit. And I think one of the things that I ended up doing was taking one of these and putting some glue and putting a flower right down in there. I think these other flowers will kind of cover that up a little bit. So we'll do that. And then I used glue dots on these other flowers. So I'm going to put them along the bottom. Okay, and let me go ahead and get that red one. Now I see that I didn't get that one cut very good. I was kind of in a hurry. I'm going to trim that up just a little bit. Maybe I need my smaller scissors, which are actually sitting right here beside of me. I didn't do a good job of trimming it. I should have left it as it was. But done now. So let me get that can stay. I'm getting too much stuff. Let me just tear that off. Okay, so I'm going to put my red one over here. I've got the glue dots down on the bottom part. So I'm going to do it over here. And then I'm going to do the yellow one kind of on that side. And then I had glue dots. Let's see, I have to go on this side. So I'm going to put kind of down at the bottom on the... I am not going to do doing great with glue dots, am I? So I'm going to do this and down at the very bottom of this. And I'm going to hide that flower kind of here. Now, I guess what I need to do is shut that and make sure everything's okay so it's not sticking out. Okay, and we'll do one of my leaves. I'll just cut that one there. So I should have I did 3 of the leaves. I should have done 4. And I just put that glue dot on the wrong. I'm going to put this one down here. And this one we'll do on the front. And I'll glue that coming there. Let's make sure that'll be all right to close. And then on the other one, I had another leaf coming down, but I don't have that one made right now. It's okay without, and we'll leave it at that. Okay, so now I'm going to close this one, and we're going to hope that we can take these. They really look more like Lost Lagoon than Pretty Peacock, but we'll take those and put those as our embellishments. Oh, I really like the way that turned out. Okay, so here we go. We have both of our cards. We have our pop-up vase full of flowers. And that really wasn't that hard to do, was it? So I think I have a couple of friends that might need to have that. So once again, let me go through and tell you that we used the So Sincere stamp set. We used, and that one is in the mini catalog that begins September 6th. We also used the Darling Details stamp set. We used the Distressed Tile embossing folder that comes out in that mini on September 6th. We used the Scalloped Contours dies. And we also, I don't think I even mentioned it, that we used the Darling Details dies. Specifically, these 3 are the ones that we used to cut out our flowers and our leaves. So there you go. That's the pop-up vase, and I think I maybe made it a little more clearer than I could with just a typewriter. So thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it, and thank you for taking the Love to Stamp blog hop today. Bye-bye.